Hello guys, what's up? Welcome to the new tutorial from the SketchUp Arc Studio. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can create some super realistic render about the interior design in SketchUp. So before we start this tutorial, I'm going to show you what is the environment in here. It's a simple living room that I created and downloaded from the 3dwarehouse.com. So I only modified and adjust all the materials before this tutorial, and now I want to show you how we can create some super realistic render in Enscape. So as you can see, this is the environment in SketchUp and simple sofas with simple colors. So I'm going to maximize the Enscape in here, and I created some type of camera shot before this tutorial. So I'm going to press F on my keyboard, click on the R1, and now it will come back to the main target that we have in here. So I'm going to close my view management and start my main job with the save frame. So when I turn on the save frame, at the right side and left side I can see some type of black lines, and it helps me to create some more realistic renders in SketchUp and Enscape. So I'm going to start my job with the visual setting. So I'm going to open the visual setting in here, move it to this place, start my job with playing the field of view. As you can see, we can focus more on our target. For example, 48-degree can be really good. And as you can see, we have some empty place in here, so it's not really good. I'm going to press F, click on the R1, and rotate my camera a little bit, not too much, something like that can be much better. So 29.800 can be really good, and my Y is about 0.86. When you play with the Y parameter in the position options, it means that you change your eye height. For example, 0.86 means that your eye height is 86 centimeter. So the pitch is about 2, I think, and the eye is about 29, so everything is good. And 0.8 can be improve my job. Something like that is really good, and I'm gonna save it in here. So another time I'm gonna click on it, but this time I prefer to use 2-point perspective. So I'm gonna click on the asset library for adding some type of objects, but right now we have enough objects, so I'm gonna click on the visual setting another time and start my job with the exposure. So as you can see, we have the sunlight in here, but I want to increase the exposure a little bit because we have a little bit darkness in our environment. 58% can be good, and I want to turn on the depth of field, turn off the autofocus, and play with the focal point to reach the best result. Some place like that can be really good for me. And I'm gonna decrease the depth of field to some type of decayed number, about 8%. In the outline, I don't need any type of outline, but you can increase it to the 4%, for example. Image bar need to be managed again, but as you can see, I move it to this place. So when I turn on the auto contrast, we can see a little bit changes, but when I turn it off and play with the highlights, as you can see, we can manage our screen much better. Before I adjust highlights, I want to turn it to the 0, get to the atmosphere bar, and play with the sun brightness. It's on the 9%. If I reset it, we will have this type of render, and it's not really good because your sun burn your environment. So I will decrease it to some type of number lower than 9, for example 2, something like that, or maybe 4 is the maximum number that we can give it right now. Shadow sharpness related to these places, so I prefer to use the soft shadows, something like that, near to the 0 or completely 0. And if I want some sharp shadows, I can increase it as I can, but I prefer to use soft shadows. Artificial light brightness. We don't have any type of artificial light brightness, but you can increase it a little bit, for example 126, and it can affect on some specular materials and surfaces. When I increase the ambient brightness, you can see inside get much brighter, and it helps you to control the sunlight and interior light. 74% is good. Wind is 0, and in the fog option I want to turn it off. In the image bar, now I can play with the highlights. As you can see, when I increase it, look at these places in my render. As you can see, it will be decrease or increase. It completely depends on you. I prefer to increase this color, something about 24. And look at these shadows in anywhere you can see. When I increase the shadows, I will have some black shadows, and when I decrease it, I can control it. So negative 8% can be good. I'm going to press F, turn back to my main camera shot again, and I want a little bit warm rendering in here, so I will decrease the color temperature, some number about 4600 Kelvin. Saturation is about 102%, or I can increase it much more than the past, 111 for example. When I turn on the bloom option, you can see some effects around the glasses and floor. And when I increase the lens flare, you can see these effects much better than the past. So lens flare and bloom option work together. If I want to increase it much more, I can see some faded effect in here, and I want this type of effect exactly. So 34 is good. I want to increase the vignette a little bit, not too much. As you can see, your environment will be get affected. 44 can be good. Chromatic is 6, and in the main bar, I think everything is down for me. I want to increase the rendering quality to the ultra to see better result in my job. I have some problem with some materials in Enscape, so I want to turn on the Enscape material editor, move it to this place, and turn on the paint bucket in the SketchUp, pick up the eyedropper, and now I want to adjust some of these materials. For example, as you can see under this chair, we have more reflection and it's not really realistic. I can pick up this material, change the color of it, something like that, or for example something like white. It completely depends on you, and decrease the specular about 49%. Metallica is 0, and roughness is about 27%. So I can change it to the Gainsborough, something like that, and I think it's good for me. So as you can see, we can adjust some other type of materials in here. For example, I can click on the eyedropper another time, move my job to this place, click on this blanket in here, and add some another color for it, like the maybe dim gray, something like that, or some other colors like the dark gray. It completely depends on you and what you want from your renders. So everything is done for me. Now time for the rendering. So I can turn on some of these lights. For example, I can click on this glass in here, click on the Enscape material editor, click another time on these glass and change it to the self-illuminated, and you can see we have some type of light in here. Or for other type of glasses, for example, these sailing lights, I can pick it up, convert it to the self-illuminate, and the result is something like that. So it works very simple and easy, and it completely depends on you and what you want from your render. In the cutout and transparency, if you add some other type of glass textures, you can see better realistic light. So I'm going to maximize it, press F on my keyboard, R1 is activated for me. So I only want to reduce the light power. It's a little bit too high for this type of render. 1000 can be good, as you can see. And I want to decrease the bloom job about 18%. Lens flare is about 26. And I think everything is done for me. As a matter of fact, I want to reset these generic type because now it's much realistic. I can close it in here. R1 picked up for me. and what is that? So the final result is something like this. How you can convert it to the glass? Very simple. You only need to click on the Enscape material editor again, eyedropper, pick it up, and come to the downside, change the cutout to the transmittance, and this is the final result that you have in here. You can reduce the opacity about 2% and refractive is about 1. So I can change the tint color to the orange or some colors like that, but I prefer to use white smoke or white color for now. 88% can be good for more reflection in the environment, and I want to render my job. So I want to press Shift F11 or the screenshot bottom in here and save it on my desktop and press save. As you can see, creating super realistic renders in Enscape is much easier than your imagination, and the final result always can surprise you because Enscape is one of the real-time rendering engines that can help you to create some super realistic architectural designs and renders. So I will close it in here right now, and the final result is something like that. If you like this video, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and goodbye.